Hi guys, Grant J here and welcome to another one of our videos, and today's video will be talking about the final 4 cards for the Opus IX. We'll be talking about the light and dark cards for the set. Do know we'll be talking about these cards in a constructed sense, not in a sealed or draft sense, so let's get started. So the first card we'll be looking at is Wall. He is a 4-cost 9k forward, he is a warrior of light. You can only pay with Fire CP, Wind CP, Earth CP, or Water CP, and you must use CP of 2 or more elements to play Wall onto the field. When Wall is put from the field into a break zone, choose one forward opponent controls, deal it 9,000 damage. Wow, this card is really bad and underwhelming, especially for a legend as well. I don't know why, but it seems like light legendaries always have to suck compared to their dark legendary counterparts. I can make like a completely different video on like why dark is always going to be better than light in a large majority of situations, but in this case, he's just like bad straight up, right? So first of all, his name clashes with Wall, so there are a couple of Walls in the game, and arguably this one is the worst out of all of them, right? So if you have a card that has a name clash with other existing cards, the card has to be of similar level of ability to those other cards as well, especially with an iconic character such as Wall. So you should expect something like really amazing out of this card, maybe something with like select multiple type abilities, but this card is just slightly above curve. So he's a 4 CP 9k, which isn't even like that like good in the current metagame. It just makes him like 1 CP slightly above curve, and you have to pay for his cost with like 2 of these 4 different elements, right? So basically you can't play him ice and you can't play him in lightning, and you have to spend 2 different types of CP in order to put him into play, right? So it basically forces you to either have like four backups of different elements, or like to discard a card as well. So, and all of that just to put a like basically a vanilla 9k forward on the field, because his only ability is like if he's sent to a break zone, you deal 9,000 damage to a forward. And it's not, you can't even choose one of your own forwards. Not that you necessarily would, but having at least the option to kill one of your own guys in certain situations is like okay. But yeah, like you don't even have the option to kill your own guy. And yeah, you like his only ability, the only reason why you would play him is the fact that he can deal 9k on death. There's no real good ways to cheat him in either. And yeah, so like if your opponent just straight up removes him and they don't have a forward on the field, you basically just like got no value out of this guy at all. So like as a legendary, he really sucks, and he clashes with 2 really good cards, and he doesn't really synergize with like any of the other warrior like stuff as well. So overall, this card is not good and not worth the drawback. So bad. And he comes in full art as well, but he's so bad. And it doesn't even get any better with Locke. So he is a 4-cost 8k as well. He is a Treasure Hunter category 4 / Decidia. At the beginning of your main phase 1, reveal top 2 cards of your deck, add 1 category 6 character among them to your hand, and return the other cards to the bottom of your deck in any order. When Locke attacks, all category 6 forwards other than Locke you control gain plus 2,000 power until the end of turn. So this card literally clashes with like now probably the 2 best category 6 cards in the game. So Locke, like the Locke forward, is pretty much the only reason that you would play category 6. He's like the best card in category 6, and the 4-cost Locke is like a really good ice backup as well. It just searches so well and it's so versatile. So this Locke clashing with both of them just really sucks. I guess this means that you can play Locke in a non-ice category 6 deck. So what, if you want to play it in mono water or water fire, I guess you can do that. But it seems like you lose so much from not having the ice category 6 cards in your strategy. So overall, like you sacrifice a lot of options in order to put this Locke into your deck. And his ability isn't even that good. Like if you could at least get a card upon entry, then it'd be decent, but you have to wait until the beginning of your main phase 1. So you have to wait for it to survive all the way to your following turn in order to get a card to your hand. And like you don't even necessarily get that as well, because it just says reveal top 2 cards of your deck. And that's a very narrow amount of cards. So if it said like top 3 or top 4, then there's a decent chance that you'll get a category 6 card into your hand. But the fact that it's only top 2 is really narrow. Admittedly, it is like any category 6 character, including forwards and backups. It doesn't include summons, which I guess doesn't really add that much extra value to it anyways. But yeah, so Like, the first ability is very underwhelming, it's slow, and it's very narrow, so you'll probably miss a lot with it. As for his second ability, when he attacks, he gives all your other, like, category 6 forwards plus 2k until the end of the turn. He doesn't give them any extra, like, any other extra cool buffs. It doesn't give them First Strike or Brave or anything. Being a treasure hunter, maybe, like, giving them, like, First Strike or something might have been, like, thematically alright. But Locke doesn't even buff himself. He only buffs other category 6 forwards. So, like in all round, like, both his abilities are just, like, underwhelming. And the fact that he clashes with such a good Locke in the game, or a good like character in category 6, makes him like even worse, because you're locked out playing another good card in order to play this card. So overall, this card is just so bad. Like, it's arguably worse than Wall, in my opinion, simply because that it forces you to not play Locke. And it's not like you can just play this as a generic light card in other decks, because it does require you to have a large amount of your cards in your deck to be category 6 in order to be relevant. So it's locked into a category 6 strategy, but it also locks out the best cards of category 6 as well. So this card is so bad. It's so bad. Why is light so bad? Next we have Kalsa Mobius. It's a 6-cost 9k forward, so it's about on curve, maybe a little bit below curve, but its ability is when Kalsa Mobius enters the field, if the cost paid to play Kalsa Mobius included fire CP, deal 5k to all forwards your opponent controls. If the cost to play Chaos Mobius included ICP, your opponent discards one card from your hand. If the cost paid to play Chaos includes Lightning CP, your opponent selects one monster he or she controls and put it into the break zone. So this is a pretty cool card. In theory, it's very similar to Fina and what Fina does in like fire decks or decks that can produce fire CP. It does produce that 5k to all your opponent's stuff, which then allows you to like combo with a whole bunch of stuff in order to finish them off. So like cards like Ifrita or like any number of fire cards that can just deal like 2,000 or 3,000 to all your opponent's guys, it will be able to allow you to have similar removal ability or similar removal power that Fina does. It does have the weakness of like Fina is usually paired up with Valor, and Valor untaps your backups. So Valor is effectively 0 CP. So effectively, a lot of cases you're doing Valor Fina to just like only sacrifice one card or discard one card from your hand. But in order to do like Kalsa Mobius into Ifrita, you have to pay the 6 CP for Kalsa Mobius, and then you have to pay another 3 CP for Ifrita. So it costs you significantly more to do as well. On the upside, you do get the value of you being able to destroy some monsters and you forcing your opponent to discard a card from their hand. So like this card by itself, even though you're getting like a lot of potential effects from it, the lightning part is probably the least relevant. So not a lot of strategies in the current metagame are playing monsters. So in certain situations, it's just like not good enough. Or in certain situations, like the lightning part is just like not relevant. So you're pretty much relying upon just like a 6 CP 9k, dealing 5k, and also forcing your opponent to discard a card. Now, in terms of discards, there are like better cards to force your opponent to discard. And yeah, dealing the 5k damage is usually not enough either, unless you've like unless you've already like sacrificed some guys in combat, or unless you have some sort of AoE or further nuke to sort of like further the damage as well. So it's a very combo orientated card, and the payoff for resolving this card effectively isn't that great in my opinion. So that's what really sort of hinders this card. Maybe if this card was a little bit cheaper, you could justify it, but attached to a 6k body, and then you have to very specifically build your deck around it for a whole bunch of sort of like half effects, is kind of not worth it in my opinion. So overall, like, you really have to go deep in order to make this card relevant, and the fact that it's a dark card means that like it's very difficult to go like say free of this card and then like build your strategy around it because of the potential to brick. And not only that, you have to also pair it up with some sort of like further damage in order to really make that damage relevant. So because of that, it's kind of half baked. And unless we have some really good cards that pair up with it that come out in the future, I don't think this card is really going to see any play, especially when he's competing against Veritas at the moment. And the final card of the set is Emperor Gestahl. He is a 5-cost dark backup. He's category 6. When Emperor Gestahl enters the field, choose one forward opponent controls, break it. For dull, put Emperor Gestahl into a break zone, play one dark forward of cost 5 or less from your hand onto the field. You can only use this ability during your turn. So there are like not as many 5-cost targets as you may think. So yeah, we only have like three of them. So we have Camelot, Kefka, and Emperor. They're all pretty decent. Maybe not so much the 5-cost Emperor, but Kefka and Camelot both effectively get your card back, so they're not bad. And Camelot can search for Emperor Gestahl, so you can sort of like do interesting loops with the card. But I think the real interesting thing about this card is that he gives you a effectively unconditional like removal on a 5 CP backup. So for a 5 CP backup to like destroy a forward that you get to choose is actually pretty good. And then for it to be able to break itself to play a dark forward, it gives you even more value. Very similar to like Star Sybil or something like that. So I think this card is very, very good. The one big restriction to this card is that it doesn't have the chaos buff, or it doesn't, you don't have the chaos ability inherently to it, where you can have more than one dark card on the field. So if you do put Emperor Gestahl on the field, you can't play any dark cards. You have to break the Emperor Gestahl in order to put a dark card onto the field, and vice versa. If you happen to have a Camelot, and you search for Emperor Gestahl, you can't put Emperor Gestahl onto the field until your Camelot is gone, or unless you play like a Chaos or something. So it does have a little bit of it is a little bit finicky there, in that you do need to have that chaos down first in order to like put him down while you have a dark card. But like overall, like the value that this card brings is just so good. Even though you want to play the biggest card you can with this card in order to get maximum CP value out of its break, like it is possible to just play like other solid 4-cost and 3-cost dark cards as well. Playing card like Gaudes is probably pretty legit as well. Or like maybe Shadow Lord, depending on the metagame. But yeah, being able to like just put in a 4 CP or 3 CP is not terrible, especially if those forwards are very good in the current metagame. So overall, this card is a very solid card. It doesn't really sort of point towards any specific strategy it might be involved in, but if you are playing a strategy that has like a high number of Kefkas or a high number of Camelnots, then potentially this might be a good direction to look at. And Kefka happens to be in category 6 as well, so these are both very easily slottable into like a category 6 type strategy. Yeah, so potentially this is the direction to look into, like a more monster orientated like category 6 type strategy. You can potentially slot them into like mono water or something, simply because water has Gao, and so yeah, so you do have some monster synergies there and like make some interesting plays there. So overall, I do think that this card has some very good plays, and I think like if in the future, if we get even more like good 5-cost dark cards, this card is just going to get this card is going to get even better and better. So overall, I like this card, and I think that every set when we get new dark cards, it's another card that we should be looking at in the future. And that's it, guys. So, were there any cards in this video that you think I might have overrated or underrated? If there's any strategies that you think I might not have touched upon, or any sort of ideas that I might not have really sort of explored, do let me know in the comment section down below, and we can discuss and chat and really sort of delve deeper in some of these ideas. So, if you guys enjoyed the video, please do like and subscribe. And until next time, Grand J out.